Alright, so welcome to section 6.6. We're going to talk about the zero product rule for solving quadratic equations by factoring. So our quadratic equations are normally trinomials, ax squared plus bx plus c that we saw factoring, but they're now set equal to 0. Well, we know the zero product rule states that if you ever have a times b and it's equal to 0, then a equals 0 or b equals 0. And you've probably seen a problem something like this where they gave you a bunch of numbers to multiply. You started multiplying to the left, and you went, okay, negative 80. Negative 80 times 3 is negative 240. Holy cow, negative 240 times 5. And then you realize, hey, I'm multiplying by 0. That means the whole thing becomes 0. And then 0 times 7 is 0, and 0 times 11 is 0. So as soon as you see 1 0, the whole thing's a 0. So what we're saying is that if two things are multiplied to be 0, we're going to cover our assets and let a equal 0 and b equal 0. So down here for my example, we have 5x. That's my GCF being multiplied to x minus 2. Okay, those are the two things. 5x is going to act like a, set it equal to 0. X minus 2 is my second factor, set it equal to 0 like we did the b. And now solve for x. Okay, we'll divide over the 5. X equals 0. We'll add over the 2. X equals 2. There's my answer. Now here we have three things being multiplied together. The 7, the binomial x plus 8, the binomial 2x minus 3. So that's like saying a, b, and c being multiplied together. Set them all equal to 0. 7 equals 0, x plus 8 equals 0, 2x minus 3 equal, wait a minute, rewind. How can 7 be equal to 0? Okay, it can't. Not a possibility. Throw it out. All right, x plus 8 can be equal to 0. We just subtract over the 8. X equals negative 8. 2x minus 3 equals 0. Add over the 3, divide over the 2. There's my two answers. Three things being multiplied. 2x times x minus 1 times x plus 1. Set each one equal to 0. 2x equals 0. Wait a minute, that's like 5x equals 0. That's just automatically x equals 0. Make a mental note. Anytime you have a GCF factor with just an x, no matter what else is being multiplied to it, it's automatically x equals 0. X minus 1 equals 0 gives me x equals 1. X plus 1 equals 0. Subtract over the 1. X equals negative 1. Put all three of those together. There's my answer. Now, don't be surprised if they ask you to put your answers in numerical order. All right, now I have spaces here so it looks good so we can see the numbers, but in more, no spaces after the commas, and they may want this in numerical order, so negative 1 comma 0 comma 1. All right, so now we have to get these trinomials into this factored form. So looking at this problem, x squared minus 10x plus 24, using my sign rules, my c is a positive. My two binomials are both minus, x minus something, x minus something. Read it from right to left. What two numbers multiply to be 24 and add up to be 10? 6 and 4. Both minus signs. All right, solve for x. X minus 4 equals 0, x minus 6 equals 0, x equals 4. Add over the 6, x equals 6. There's my two answers. Okay, just changed it to a minus sign. Okay, what two numbers multiply to be 24 and subtract to be a 10? I think we saw this before, 12 and 2. The 12 is the minus, the 2 is the plus. Set them both equal to 0. X equals 12, x equals negative 2. Hopefully you see a shortcut here. Notice every binomial with a 1x in it. Do you notice that all we do is take the opposite sign? X minus 2, answers plus 2. X plus 8, answers negative 8. Minus 1, plus 1, plus 1, minus 1. Minus 4, plus 4, minus 6, plus 6. So let's just shortcut it. If it says x minus 12, okay, it's x equals 12. Just change the sign. X plus 2, change the sign. X equals negative 2. There's my two answers. All right, next we have x squared minus 8x plus 16 equals 0. I see a plus 16. Both signs are minus, so x minus x minus. And wait a minute, 16 is a perfect square. X squared is a perfect square. Take the square root of 16. I think this is x minus 4x minus 4. If I FOIL it, we get minus 4x minus 4x. Yep, that's my minus 8x. But here, you only have to solve one binomial since both are the same. So x is equal to 4. However, please keep in mind the 4 did occur twice, so we do have two answers. It just happens to be the same number. My second problem, x squared equals 6x. Do not, and I attempt, do not, just because you see an x on both sides, don't divide over the x and get x equals 6. It's x squared. It's x squared. Two answers occurred twice. If I have an x squared, there's two answers to be found. Minus the 6x over, get it set equal to 0. I can factor out an x as the GCF. X equals 0, x equals 6. There's my two answers. All right, set this equal to 0. Subtract over the 25. Oh, look, a difference of perfect squares. 2x plus 5, 2x minus 5 after you take the square root of each term. Now here it's kind of nice. We'll take the 2x plus 5, set it equal to 0. We'll solve for x, subtract over the 5. Divide by 2. X equals negative 5 halves. Is there any reason to solve this one for x if the only difference is the sign? Well, it's going to be the same as this, but just with a plus 5 halves. So there's my two answers. No reason to work this out. If all you're doing is change the sign, then change the sign on your answer and you have your two answers. Next trinomial, x squared plus 16x plus 63 equals 0. Okay, plus 63, the signs are the same, both plus. What two numbers multiply to be 63 and add up to be 16? I'm thinking 9 and 7. So x plus 7, x plus 9. All right, solve for x, take the opposite sign. Negative 7, negative 9. There's my two answers. Whoops, not equal to 0. Subtract over the 28. Okay, it's a minus 28, so 1 plus 1 minus. What two numbers multiply to be 28 and subtract to be 12? So one number has to be bigger than 12. 14. 14 and 2, so 14 carries the plus sign, 2 carries the minus sign. Solve for x, just change the signs. X equals negative 14 and a positive 2. There's my two answers. Whoops, going a little fast here. 2x cubed plus 6x squared minus 24x. I see even numbers. I see x. I'm thinking GCF of a 2x. This 2x can be set equal to 0 right away if you want, and say x equals 0 and put it in your answer. X squared plus 4x minus 12. That's the next thing I need to factor. What two numbers multiply to be 12 and subtract to be 4? One's got to be bigger than 4, so how about a 6 and a 2? And the 6 carries the plus sign, the 2 carries the minus sign. So as we said, x equals 0, x equals 2, just change the sign, x equals negative 6. There's my three answers. Uh-oh, they gave us a difficult one. 6x squared minus x minus 35 equals 0. All right, here we go. Got to use this 6 twice. It's a minus 35, so we have plus blank and a minus blank. What two things multiply to be AC and multiply to be 6 times negative 35? And they got to add up to be a negative 1. Ooh, that's nice. That's odd. That means I need odd factors. Pull them apart. 2 and 3, 7 and 5. Now, here's the best part. These two numbers have to subtract to be 1, so my two numbers have to be really close together. So mix and trade. How about 7 times 2 is 14? 3 times 5 is 15. Those two numbers subtract to be a 1. And since it's a negative 1, the 15 will be the negative, the 14 the positive, so the 14 goes in the plus blank, 15 goes in the minus blank, and we take out our GCF. Take out the 2, 3x plus 7. Take out the 3, 2x minus 5. Set equal to 0 and solve. 3x plus 7 equals 0. Subtract over the 7, divide over the 3. Negative 7 thirds. 2x minus 5 equals 0. Add over the 5. Divide over the 2. X equals 5 halves. There's my two answers.